Hey everyone, me again. You know the score by now. We are having another decluttering video today, and in today's episode we are looking at my eyeshadow palettes. And I think we can all agree that I have a bit of a problem when it comes to eyeshadow palettes. I don't know what it is about them. They do something for me, guys, and I just seem to hoard quite a few of them, especially Makeup Revolution ones. There are a lot of Makeup Revolution ones here. I'll be honest with you, even though there's far too many of them, I actually don't really feel like there are a lot that I want to get rid of. I feel like these really come in handy for videos and just for making different looks, and I can't see myself saying goodbye to that many, but I still want to go through them just to make sure, so let's do this. So one thing that I am going to say goodbye to is this Primark eyeshadow palette. This is the Master Eye palette. This was £6. Now I look at this and the shades are absolutely stunning. This would be the perfect autumnal eyeshadow palette if it was any good, but unfortunately it's just not any good. It's not that it's not pigmented, because it actually is. Like, the pigmentation is really nice, the colours look good when swatched and when they're initially applied. However, some of them are really difficult to blend, in particular the two matte shades are very difficult to blend, and I find that once you've applied them they go very muddy, they kind of oxidise and they just all fuse together. So even though there's a lot of contrasting colours here, like when I was testing this in a video I put that one with the green one, and even though they're contrasting colours it kind of all muddled together, and yeah, it's not a very good formula, and I feel like for £6 you can get a better eyeshadow palette if you go to somewhere like Makeup Revolution. So even though the colours are really pretty, I don't like the formula and I'm going to give this to someone else. Just because I don't like it doesn't mean that my friends and family won't like it. So I've barely used this, so I'm sure that someone else will want to give this a loving home. Something that I'm definitely going to keep is this Naked eyeshadow palette. This is the original one. This is one of the very few high-end makeup products that I actually own, and it doesn't look like I use this a lot, but I do. It's just that you don't need as much product because it's so pigmented, so it still looks really new, but I promise I do use this on a regular basis. The blendability and the pigment is just like nothing else in my collection. Love this. That's not going anywhere. Another thing that I definitely want to keep are my Makeup Revolution chocolate bar palettes. So I actually have 4. This is Salted Caramel, which is a really stunning autumnal selection. I actually took this on holiday to Belgium in the summer, and these shades looked really nice for the summer as well because there's lots of really warm golden tones in here. Definitely keeping that. I also have the Naked chocolate one, which is the Milky White chocolate palette. This is a much more cool toned palette. I really like this one. And this is the one that I've had for the longest time, so it's actually broken now. That's not because the packaging isn't good, it's just that I'm clumsy. I dropped this ages ago and it's something that I have had for a while. But I don't know if you're going to be able to see, but I've nearly hit pan on some of the shades. They've got some serious dents in. This palette is very well loved. It's the Death by Chocolate one. It was the first one I got. I've had this for a really long time, but it's absolutely beautiful. I love this in the winter especially, and that shade there, this one is my favourite. It's so pretty. It's a kind of metallic taupe and it looks really nice with the matte shade next to it in the crease. Really beautiful, some gorgeous shades in here. And I also have this one. This is I Heart Chocolate. This is another really beautiful one. I wear the 4 golden shades here a lot together. I've started wearing some of the more adventurous colours in the palette, like the purples and the greens as well. Really nice, absolutely perfect for this time of year. By the way, guys, if there are any eyeshadow palettes that you want me to film a review on, if there are any eyeshadow palettes that you want me to do like a tutorial with or a get ready with me video with them, or if there's anything that you want to see, like one of those free looks in one palette videos, anything like that, just let me know in the comments and I will get that filmed. I don't review eyeshadow at the moment, I tend to review foundations, but as I have so many, if there's anything that you really want to see in a video, let me know and I will do that for you. Okay, what else am I keeping? I'm definitely keeping this Makeup Revolution palette. This is the Ultra Professional eyeshadow in Flawless, and this is another really nice autumn palette. Look at that. Isn't it stunning? Oh, this is really interesting as well. This is the Pro Artist palette. This is a basically empty eyeshadow palette that you put your own magnetic shadows in. So let's have a look in here. So the 4 shades here are from Makeup Geek. I was given them at a blogging event. And then there are 4 by NYX. They're really nice as well. And then the other ones, everything on this side of the palette is stuff that has fallen out of its original packaging. So it's not supposed to be in a magnetic palette, but because it's fallen out of its packaging, I've just put it in here to keep it safe. So I've got 2 single eyeshadows by Essence just there, and those 2 are, I think, Natural Collection. This is actually the Stargazer face powder, which I really love. I think it's in the shade Natural Shimmer, but I think I dropped it and I broke the packaging. So that's in here now, that lives in here, and yeah, I really like this palette, of course, because I picked everything myself. I've got W7 in the buff, which I think is their version of the Urban Decay Naked 2 palette. The only original Naked eyeshadow palette I have is the first one. The other ones I have a dupe, so I've got a dupe of the Naked 2 here, and I've also got somewhere, here it is, this is a Makeup Revolution dupe of the Naked 3 palette, which I love, by the way, I'm keeping that. This one, I don't reach for it as often, but some of the shades here are still really nice. If you're after a dupe of the Urban Decay Naked palettes, Makeup Revolution and W7 do all of them. I personally prefer the Makeup Revolution ones. And if you don't want to splash out £40, whatever it is, on an Urban Decay eyeshadow palette, get these ones instead. They're £4 each and they're really nice. I prefer their formulas to the W7 one. That being said, I'm going to hang on to the W7 one for the meantime, because that's the only Naked 2 palette dupe that I own. But if I had to buy it again, I'd get the Makeup Revolution one for sure. I've also got 2 of the Makeup Revolution Salvation palettes. Most of my eyeshadow palettes are by Makeup Revolution because they're so affordable. The colours are always what's on trend. They're really good for the price. They're super pigmented and the palettes are always really good, and they've got a big mirror in them as well, which make them ideal for travelling. So I don't think they make the Salvation palettes anymore, but I still really love them. I've had them in my collection for a little while now. This one is called What You Waiting For. I used to use this all the time. You can see that I've really dented some of the colours in here. This is a very well loved palette. It's got lots of pinks and lots of bronzes, which is basically my favourite thing to wear on my eyes, so I'm keeping that one for sure. I've also got the Salvation palette in Girls on Film as well. So like I said in my previous decluttering video where I was going through my single eyeshadows, I used to wear quite a lot of purple looks on my eyes. That used to be a big thing for me. I still like that, but I definitely don't wear as much purple anymore. This is a kind of purpley theme-ish palette. It's a lot more cool toned. It looks really nice, the colours are beautiful, they blend really well. It's just not really the sort of thing that I reach for nowadays. I tend to reach for much warmer eyeshadow palettes, so I think I'm going to give this to my mum because I think she will really love the colours in here. The ones at the end especially are definitely her cup of tea. So I just think that she will get more use out of this than I will. It's not that I don't love this, I really do. It's just that she will use this a lot more than I currently do, just because I've got so many. I just don't reach for that, so I'm going to give that to her. I have this little NYX quad. This is the Full Throttle colour in the shade Explicit, and it's this little quad. So this was actually from my friend Charlene. This is something that she bought for herself, but she ended up giving it to me. She said she doesn't really wear it. I can see why, because you can't really wear these 4 colours together. You would have to get out another eyeshadow palette or some single eyeshadows to mix it with. I think if they had a gold in here, you could wear all of it together, but they don't for whatever reason. But that being said, I still like the individual colours. This green right here, that's unlike anything that I have in my collection, and this warm red colour is really beautiful. So I think I'm going to hang on to it and just see if I can make any looks out of this. I'm also going to be keeping this L'Oreal eyeshadow quad. This is the Smoky Nude Lingerie. Now I'll admit the colours in here are a little bit samey. The formula isn't particularly great. I think this was about £8, but honestly my Makeup Revolution palettes are cheaper. They come with more colours and they're a lot better. I think the colours in them are a lot more interesting. That being said, I just feel like this is really ideal for taking on the go with you in your makeup bag because it's not big, it doesn't take up as much space as my other eyeshadow palettes, but it still gives you a bit of choice to make a few different looks. So I'm going to hold on to this for the time being. I'm also going to be keeping the Neutrals versus Neutrals eyeshadow palette. I'll admit I don't wear this as much as I thought I would when I bought it. I feel like it looks beautiful and the colours are really nice, but I feel like they should have really put a gold in this eyeshadow palette. I feel like that would make it a lot more versatile. I feel like they really should have put like a gold or a couple of gold bronze sort of shades in this eyeshadow palette just to make it a bit more wearable. I feel like a lot of these matte shades here would look really good with a nice pop of gold or something like that, and that's just kind of missing. So I tend to mix this with other single eyeshadows or eyeshadow palettes when I do reach for this. I feel like if I style this with a gold eyeshadow, I will be able to get some use out of that. So I'm going to hang on to it for the time being. And this is another very loved Makeup Revolution palette. Again, this is broken. This is the Ultra Eyeshadows Affirmation palette. I think this one broke when I took it traveling, but I still really love the colours. I love the shade selection. Even though I usually want to wear more like warm toned colours, there's still a lot of shades in this eyeshadow palette that I love to reach for. So kind of the top row and this section here and some of the browns. So yeah, I'm definitely going to keep that. And let's see what we have left. So there is this Lumiere palette, which I've had for a really long time. I think I got this for Christmas, and I'll be honest, I never wear this. Like, the shades do look nice, but they're nothing special. The formula is pigmented but super powdery. There's quite a lot of fallout on these. So it's okay, but I tend to reach for my other palettes a lot more, so I'm going to move this one along. And then the remaining ones are by collection. They're so perfect for travel because it's just this slim cardboard packaging. I have a Little Mix eyeshadow palette from them, which I think has been discontinued. I haven't seen this in the shops recently, but it's still beautiful. It's kind of difficult to style the shades together, but I love them individually, especially this bronze one. I wear this all the time. I absolutely love bronze shades like this. And I've been reaching for this orange one a lot, so I'm definitely going to hang on to that because I love the shades. I also have this one from them. This is their Nude Bronze palette. I adore this. This is actually quite new, which is why a lot of the shades haven't been touched just yet, but it's definitely my kind of thing. It's sort of bronzes and golds. They're really, really pretty. They're really pigmented. It reminds me a lot of the Urban Decay Naked palette, just in terms of the colours that they've put in here. I'll just get it and compare it for you. But like, can you see what I mean? How similar they are to like the warmer neutral colours in here. Very similar, and the formulas are really similar as well. Absolutely love this palette. There's no way I'd take the Naked palette travelling with me. It's just too expensive to risk damaging it, so I love this as like a travel friendly option. And then I've got these two. I actually really like this palette, even though it's not the sort of thing that I usually reach for. It's got this kind of pinky quad and then a sort of bronze quad over here. But I do really like this. I really enjoy wearing it. So I'm going to hang on to that one. And then there's this one. If you're after a dupe for the Urban Decay Naked Basics palettes, I would definitely think about picking this up. This is the Eyes Uncovered Nude palette. The formula is really nice. I've actually used this in a drugstore makeup tutorial before. I think it was in my drugstore makeup starter kit video, and I absolutely love the shades. They're really nice, they're really easy to blend, and I put this in my drugstore makeup starter kit video because I think this is perfect for beginners. There's nothing too scary in here. You can make some really nice natural looks with this. However, I don't tend to wear natural anymore, as you can see by all the other eyeshadow palettes in my stash. This just isn't something that I reach for, so again, I love this palette. I think it's really nice to use, great value for money, great packaging for travel, but I do not reach for this. The drugstore makeup starter kit video was probably the first time that I'd worn it for a really long time, and I don't think I've picked it up since then. So I do think this is nice, I do recommend it, but I'm going to pass this on because I think that someone else could use this a lot more than I do. Thank Thank you so much for joining me for this declutter video, guys. I know that we didn't get rid of that many eyeshadow palettes, but that's because I love my eyeshadow palettes. They are my favourite thing in my makeup collection, and I think they're the thing that I buy the most, and I'm not really sure why that is. I just love them. I love everything about them, and I'm sure that I won't learn anything from this declutter and I'll end up buying more palettes very, very soon. Again, like I said before, if there are any palettes in particular that you want to see in a review, let me know in the comments. Do you want to see a tutorial with a palette in particular? Do you want to see me make a look from any of the eyeshadow palettes, or maybe 3 or 4 looks from an eyeshadow palette? Let me know in the comments and I will film that for you. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you next Sunday at 9 AM. Bye!